From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello, everyone. I'm News Channel 5's political analyst, Pat Nolan. Welcome to Inside Politics. We're honored and privileged this week to have as our guest on Inside Politics the governor of the great state of Tennessee, the Honorable Bill Lee. Governor, I know you came on the show when you were running for office. We appreciate you coming back now that you're governor.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the program, and congratulations.
Thank you. Glad to be back and glad to be with you today.
Now, you've been in office about 2 months. It's been hectic, I'm sure, putting together a new administration and your first budget. You been able to catch your breath yet?
It's been hectic. You're right. It's reminds me a little bit of some of days in business world. Very hectic. A lot of activity. But it's been, the more I do this, the more inspired I am to do it.
Has the job been about what you expected it to be?
Well, you know, if you've never done it, you don't know what to expect. I tried not to have too many expectations, but it's been, you know, Governor Haslam said to me in the transition period, he said, "You're going to love this job once you get used to it." And I'm getting used to it, but I see why he says that, because it's certainly a rewarding effort, and I haven't even gotten through but a couple of months. Have you found things
that you can do as governor that maybe you didn't know you can do, or things that you thought you could do that you can't? What has surprised you?
Well, I think I'll tell you, one of the surprises for me is that when I campaigned, everyone would say, "Well, what about the legislature? And how are you going to work with the legislature? And what are you going to do about this?" And I found myself as if it was a group of people that were going to be very difficult and that I was going to have to work really hard to figure out how to work with them. I have found the legislature to be, on both sides of the aisle, up and down the line, to be citizen legislators who sacrifice. They come there to represent people. They are passionate about what they want to do. And I have a great deal of respect for them, much more than I ever did before. And it's caused me to, it's part of the reason I love this job. It's part of the reason that I've been inspired, because I feel like it may be unique to Tennessee, but there is a group of folks there who actually do want to work together to get things done.
One of your top legislative priorities this year is increasing parental choice in education, specifically expanding charter schools and creating educational savings account. How will those two actions make schools better?
You know, my real goal is to make schools better. That is the goal. I got involved. Part of this passion around this stems from a personal involvement I had 5 years ago through a nonprofit agency with working with inner city at-risk kids. Met a kid, got involved in his life and subsequently his education. He was in a failing school, failing every subject. I worked with his grandmother to have him moved, and I saw his entire educational trajectory change. And it started a real process in me of looking at ways to improve schools. I just found myself saying, you know, no kid in Tennessee should be left with no choice other than to attend a failing school. And when we address failing schools, then we address the entire system, and the whole of education system is improved.
But the program that you sent to the legislature on failing schools, particularly in the area of the ESAs, is much larger than just serving the kids that are in failing schools. You allow parents in all the other schools, public schools, that are in the county that qualifies to be able to do that. That's a lot broader than I think a lot of lawmakers do. That's some of the questions you're getting back from them about why is this so much broader in its scope than what Governor Haslam had when he tried to do his pilot program.
Yeah, it actually, you know, it's limited to 5,000 students in the first year out of 1 million students. So
but how many students in those counties? Because that's a much smaller group of kids.
Yeah, well, 5,000 students across 5 school districts. So, for example, in Metro Nashville, we have, I think, about 90,000 students. It's a very limited and targeted plan that will provide for choice of those kids who are in districts that have failing schools.
If you have more children and families that want to participate than you can handle in a particular county, do you give a preference to the kids that are coming out of the failing schools, or is it open to everybody? Because a lot of parents could apply. Your guidelines for population, you could make a family of 4 can make up to $90,000.
Yeah, well, the details of that bill are not finalized. You're going to see some of those things potentially change. But I will say this: my children are in public schools in Metro Nashville, for example, my grandchildren. People who are in schools that are working, that are good schools, they don't want their children to leave. I mean, and I don't want them to either. I want the strength of public schools to be strengthened. And one of the most compelling things that I've seen as I researched this and produced this very targeted approach is what's happening in other states. There are 4 other states in this country with significant education savings accounts programs: Florida, Indiana, Wisconsin, Arizona. Every one of those states has better public school outcomes than Tennessee. And in talking to governors from those states, part of the reason is choice has elevated the entire public school system.
One of the questions has come about the role of homeschooling in this. Your bill, at least as it was originally proposed, allows homeschoolers to participate. I understand there's a possibility that's going to be removed from the program. Is that right?
There's an amendment that, and as you know how bills work, they will go to a subcommittee and a committee, and there's a process, and the bill's constantly changing, and it's getting improvements, and it's becoming it's addressing concerns.
You're okay about that? I mean, you're not.
I'm okay with improvements.
You're not my bill, and this is what you need to pass.
I think the process is a good one that provides for improvements to a bill, so that by the time it gets voted on, there's a broad acceptance of how this in fact can benefit Tennesseans.
So at this point, you may be changing some of the guidelines in terms of income, that they may go down a little bit from where they are right now, or you may focus more on people that you know are in failing schools?
We will look at how this bill is changed over the weeks ahead. And there will clearly be changes to accommodate concerns that people have.
The overall cost, at least when it's up and running in 3 years, and it doesn't start right away, even if it's passed by the legislature, it's $125 million. That also seemed to catch some people off guard based on the number you had given for the first year in your budget address to the legislature. $125 million just for a few counties in Tennessee doesn't sound like something coming from a small government governor and his administration.
No, it's an investment in something that's going to dramatically change the outcomes of our state. You know, one of the greatest opportunities a governor has is to manage a budget and conservatively, fiscally. I am a small government person. That's why we found $40 million worth of cuts in our budget in inefficiencies, so that we could invest in things that are important going forward. Investing in education is something that we need to do going forward. We need Tennessee to have some of the best public schools in the country, and in order to do that, we're going to have to invest. We spend about $5 billion in public school education in Tennessee. We proposed in our budget 170 or so, 175 million new dollars toward public schools in Tennessee, including $71 million for teacher pay raises. This $25 million in the first year that turns this $25 million recurring is an investment in education that will be a part of transforming the future of education. If we don't invest in education in creative, innovative ways, we're going to end up with the same results we have had for the last 20 years. We're in the bottom half of states in America. It is time that we challenge some of the status quo and make certain, especially in our failing schools, that those kids have an opportunity that every other Tennessee kid does, to go to a good school.
Governor Bill Lee's our guest. We'll continue our conversation with him after you watch these messages.